One of my favorite conversations in this series thus far is the table talk with Medusa. Like that dialogue causes the questers, so to speak, to question what they know, who they think the heroes and villains are, and whether it's just for like a moment or for the remainder of the series. It's interesting to take that pause and ask those questions. So I'm curious if you both mind anything out of that conversation and what questions you may be asking yourself if you did.
It was important to me, I think, that this show both be an adventure and a ride, and something that you can enjoy as a kid, because you're watching kids who look like you fight monsters and solve puzzles and go on an adventure. It was also important to me that if you watch this as an adult, a parent or not, that it was willing to explore what some of these ideas really mean. I think the Greek mythology and all of its stories have existed for a long time, not just because they're fun and because they have monsters, but because they speak to something really true about what it is to be a human being. And I think that was a bit of the puzzle. How do you work that into this show in a way that's both meaningful and also not getting in the way of us having a good time on our big epic adventure? So that scene, I think, is a moment where everyone's starting to question, how connected am I to my parents, and what am I responsible for because of them? That's a big question, and I think hopefully not the only one or the last one in the series.
Yeah, just giving a voice to every character in the show. A lot of the times, in stories like this, the villains or the monsters are just creatures, or they're just ideas, and to be able to take the time and understand that everyone has a story, and they have something complicated or interesting to say, even if they end up using it, using all of that backstory and all of those complications in the wrong way. It comes from somewhere, and these were moments to just, and the benefit of it being an ongoing, 8-episode season, to be able to spend the time in these moments, and let the kids react to that. So I think it was pretty important to be able to give that space.
Yeah. I also wanted to commend you both on the reactions that you get to certain moments, like that. It's more than just like the dialogue. Like the dialogue has some sort of impact, but it's how the actors react in the space, such as Percy's interaction with Gabe, where he says, I tapped a kid, and Dad's like, okay, and then he's kind of puzzled by that reaction. And same thing with like Annabeth's saying like, oh, you were watching me? Yeah, like kind of normalizing like the oddities. And so I'm just curious about how that was important to show that
nothing was written for this show, and nothing was asked of those kids that was less than what would have been asked for if they were adults. All the nuance of a moment or of a performance was left there for them to explore, and we tried really hard to create an environment to help them find it. But I don't know that the show works on all of the levels it does if those three kids aren't capable. First, of even understanding how all of those moments are working, and then second, of being able to process it and to react to it and to portray it. I think it's easy with kid actors to assume there's things they can't do, but we just never did that. We wrote this story in the way that felt right, and then gave them the opportunity to do what they could, and they did a really amazing job of answering that call.
And we put an amazing support system around them, to amazing acting coach that worked with them, amazing teachers, people who were there to help support them and give them the time to do the homework. And these kids wanted to do it. They cared so deeply about this story, and about their craft, that they were such pros, that they came every day with just moments that surprised us and excited us, and it just never let up. They shot for 160 days, and it never let up. They just always came in with that passion. So a lot of it is just is yes, it's in the writing, but it's also in casting the right team and the right kids to deliver.